Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to have a subscriber request from Giovanni Cherico, and he asked us to use Megan Anderson, and we're going to be using Megan in a couple fights here. They're going to be in season 6 and they fluctuate from I think division 7, maybe a couple divisions lower, to I think at the highest point division 8. And one issue I'm having right now is whenever I'm getting into games and whenever I'm winning, especially in the lower divisions, that people are just rage quitting. So although I'm getting a lot of wins, they're not really doing much for my points, because when people rage quit you actually get less points, and that was a common issue that I faced when I was using Megan Anderson right here. And as you can see, we're coming up against Nunes, and we're going to have I believe 4 fights. I think I ended up using her in about 8 fights in total, but some of them were just so quick that the players just rage quit and there was no point in me using it, so I tried to use the best clips that I got. And obviously with Anderson, she's very tall, so you're going to want to use a range, but she's very good in the pocket because she's actually primarily a boxer. So whenever you're in that pocket you don't really need to panic. Obviously when you're coming up against Nunes, who has unreal stats, I mean all of her stand-up stats are above 90, I'm pretty sure, you've got to be very careful just because of the power. As you can see there, my opponent slips back, hits with an uppercut, and I get rocked. I'm trying to rotate away from the cage, but my opponent's doing a good job of pressing me. But Megan's straight is so fast and so powerful. I felt like that was her best tool throughout the time I used her. And as you can see, that I'm trying to push the pace here, and where she's so long and rangy, you can afford to have a kickboxing match if need be. But what I will say is her boxing is primarily her best weapon for sure. As you see, I'm utilising the teep kick just to have a bit of breathing room, so Amanda's not in my face constantly, because Amanda has the power advantage as we saw in real life, and that straight there is so nasty. As you can see, we get the knockdown as a result of it, and that was definitely my favourite tool that I used while using Megan. Her straight is beautiful, and so we've got the knockdown here, so I know as long as I don't get knocked down we've probably won this round. And now I'm starting to land a bit more on my opponent. At the start of the round my opponent was having more success. It was flurrying me, overcrowding me, pushing me towards the fence, and as you can see now that we're a bit deeper into this first round, I've got a bit more comfortable. I'm just floating a bit better. My combos are getting off a bit better. As you can see, we get another stun there. And yeah, Megan has a lot of power. So if you are using her, obviously a lot of people use her to stay at range, which is obviously very effective just because of her size. But I wouldn't sleep on her boxing. Her boxing is very good, so you can get in the pocket and trade. And I don't think a lot of people expect that. And as you can see now, I'm starting to work the body. My opponent's become a lot more tentative. He's not being as aggressive just because obviously he's been knocked down, been stunned, and I'm trying to drain that stamina. As you can see, this is where the work to the body is paying off, because my opponent's throwing so much, and then when my opponent's trying to reset, I'm hitting them with a body shot, and it's just draining my opponent's stamina here. We get another stun, we go to the body, teep kick, and this is where that distance there after the teep kick is such a good distance to be with Megan, because when they come in you can intercept them with a straight, and her straight is, as I've been saying, is phenomenal. It's one of the best weapons she has in her arsenal. So what I like to do is, when you want to create distance, use the teep kick to push them back, and then you can control that distance if you control the centre of the octagon. And then when they try press you, when they try come in and explode, you can throw a straight, because straights often not, they have a weird animation, so when it hits them it makes your opponent like sort of stop. It's got a good hit reaction animation, so that's something I like to use. And as you can see there, we get another knockdown there, then my opponent ends up rage quitting, so we jump straight into the next fight with Durandame. Now Durandame is a hard fighter to come up against, obviously a kickboxer, so I could maybe look to utilise Megan's grappling if need be. Durandame, she's also very tall, very long, very range. Obviously, I've still got the reach advantage, but now I need to be careful for leg kicks, and primarily the leg kicks, body kicks, the head kicks, just because the random A's Muay Thai is so good, and kickboxing is really good, so something I've got to be careful with. And here is where I need to utilise Megan's boxing, because obviously her boxing is actually a strong point. So ideally I want to be in the pocket. I don't want to keep the fighter kicking range for too long, because when it comes to kickboxing, I don't have the advantage. I have the reach advantage, but I don't have the kickboxing advantage or Muay Thai advantage. So you're going to see that I am staying out of the pocket, making random A miss. You can see my opponent's going for takedowns, but then where possible, I'm going to look to push forwards, go into the boxing range, and you can see that's where I'm really going to be able to do my best work with Megan. And her teep kick is something you should really look to utilise, just because of how long she is. As you can see, my opponent goes for the takedown there, and then I move my opponent towards the fence just to create some distance, and now I'm controlling the centre of the octagon. And my opponent's really keen to get this fight onto the ground for some reason with the random A, even though obviously she's not that great on the ground. I'd say Megan's actually better on the ground, so I knew that if I actually looked to go towards the ground, I wouldn't be too worried. I mean, Megan's ground stats aren't the greatest, they're not obviously her strong point. I wouldn't primarily use her for that reason, but she has decent ground stats, and she can definitely submit people. I think in one of the gameplays you see more of a ground game potential. I think that's the last gameplay clip. And right now, as you can see, we've done a nice job checking these leg kicks, and my opponent's leg health is flashing. So we've done a very good job of noticing the tendencies of when my opponent's going to throw these leg kicks, as we get the leg health event there, and then we hit her with a beautiful head kick. And because I wasn't throwing it often, people don't expect it. And I always say this about head kicks: you've got to choose when to throw them wisely, because obviously you can get punished for it. And Megan's just so long that you have to time those head kicks perfectly, because you can be quite a distance back. You don't want to throw head kicks in the boxing range, otherwise you're going to get caught. So that was just a well placed head kick, and we got the knockdown for it, which means this is our round. If it goes to the next round, whenever you get a knockdown off the knot, you end up winning that round. And you can see we're just utilising the distance so well. Like when my opponent's throwing kicks, we're out of range, and then when we need to be in that boxing range, we push forward. So we get the leg health event here, and decide to push forwards. So boxing is just so clean, and then my opponent ends up rage quitting, which is a common theme when I was using Megan Anderson. Now we're coming up against another Nunes here, which is to be expected just because of how good Nunes is. I mean, you're really at a disadvantage in the bantamweight division when you're not using Nunes, so that's why obviously she's used a lot. If I was coming up against a Megan Anderson and I was using Amanda Nunes, I would look to pressure her as much as possible and look for the takedown. I'd look to utilise controlling the centre of the octagon, bombarding Megan with pressure, and then clinching, moving towards the fence. And that's how you can give Megan Anderson some trouble. You're going to have to really push the pace, and you're going to have to constantly be in that boxing range, because although her kickboxing obviously is good, but boxing's her primary weapon. If you stay at that kickboxing range, you're just not going to be able to land anything against Megan, just because she's so long. And you've really got to be careful with Megan. Straight is so good. I know I've already said that a few times in this video, but yeah, as you can see, we get the drop here against Nunes, and she felt really powerful. It really impressed me, actually. Obviously, when I was told to use Megan, I was a bit unsure, just because I'd never used her before, and when I've come up against Megan in the past, I often didn't have too much of a tough time. I'd just take her to the ground and utilise grappling, and the Megan players wouldn't have much success. As you can see, we've been taken down here. So when Giovanni asked me to use Megan, I was a bit sceptical, but I really enjoyed it. And if any of you guys would like to see me use any fighters, please just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to get that video out within sort of a week time frame. And I'm really thankful for all the support I've been getting from some of you. Obviously, a lot of you have been leaving comments and really interacting, so I try to interact back with you guys. But yeah, so when you get taken down with Megan, there's no need to panic. You just gotta look to remain calm and look to get up primarily. I mean, we know her ground game stats aren't the greatest, but there's no need to panic because they're not awful. She's got enough to survive, and as you can see there, we take a big body shot. We look for the takedown, but it gets denied. And really, that was just to survive there. We don't really want to be going onto the ground because we can have more success on the feet. But when I caught the kick there, the instant reaction was, okay, let's look to take this fight to the ground. And my opponent's really pushing the pace, and that straight is beautiful. It does so much power. We get the knockdown and we get the finish there. So that's what happens. I mean, I didn't realise how good a straight was. So obviously that Amanda Nunes was pressing. Obviously got the body rock, thought, yes, I'm in control of this fight. Ended up staying in that pocket for too long and then gets hit with that beautiful straight. I mean, it's just devastated. I think out of every fighter I've ever used on this game, apart from Nate Diaz, I think she may have the best straight for me, because it just felt so powerful. I mean, when I use Nunes, I think the animation on the straight's a lot better, and it looks like it covers more ground. It sort of looks like a gazelle punch, how much distance she covers. But Megan Anderson's power feels a lot stronger than when I used any other fighters. So that's something you've really got to look to utilise. And now we're having a mirror match here, and this is going to be the final gameplay clip with Megan Anderson. So mirror match, we're both going to have the same everything, and ideally it comes down to who can use Megan better. I don't really want to kickbox when I know her boxing's her strong suit, so as you can see, I'm trying to stay in the pocket, even if it means I'm going to have to withstand some damage. My opponent's been very aggressive. As you can see, we get the stun there, and she just has so much power waste to the point where if your opponent makes a mistake, you can easily capitalise on it. And I get hit with a massive overhand, which stuns me. Trying to remain calm here. As you can see, using movement well, circling away from the cage because I don't want to get trapped there. My opponent's throwing a lot of strikes. We hit him, beautiful body shot again. We get the drop, get on top, look to finish the fight. My opponent does a good job here, surviving. Don't know how she managed to take this much punishment. And now we're in side control, which is a pretty dominant position. And I know she has submissions from here, so we look to get the deny. As you can see, remaining calm, get another deny. So we've had 2 denies now. Soften up my opponent, then we get the 3rd deny, then we go for the inverted triangle just because of my opponent's stamina level. And this is really just to showcase that, you know, if you get a couple of deniers off you, you can go for these submissions with Megan. Her submissions are decent, so we go for it just to see how good they are. I mean, I ended up using Megan a total of about 8 times, but like I said, a lot of the fights people just raged quit, so it wasn't worth putting it in. And as you can see, we get the submission finish there relatively easily. My opponent's submission defense wasn't great, but Megan's submission offense, it felt fairly good. So that was the last fight. This fight was just obviously just to showcase that she can submit people. She's not just a strike, although that will be her main tool. If the fight does go to the ground, you deny a couple transitions, you can look for those submission finishes, which is what we've done here. That's going to be the video for today. Like I said, if you have any fighter requests, please let me know, and I'll try to get that video out as soon as possible. Thank you for all the support as well. This is the stats, obviously only 1 round. So that's the video for today. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.